Hey everybody, if you missed one of our lessons today at 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock, no worries. Here's what we actually went over. So in this PowerPoint, we're started talking about the measurement of weight. And we talked about measuring with ounces and pounds. Now, I'm not going to show you the video here, but definitely go to BrainPop Junior and go to math, and under measurement, you'll find this video. It's a great video to introduce you and get you ready to learn and think about ounces and pounds. So one other little hint is that if when we're talking about measuring with ounces, think about a piece of bread. A piece of bread weighs about 1 ounce. And when we think about pounds, think about a whole loaf of bread. A whole loaf of bread, which is heavier than a piece of bread, obviously, weighs about a pound. So just something to think about. Another thing, some other things that weigh about 1 ounce would be about 10 pennies, 6 sheets of writing paper, one AA battery, 28 paper clips, or a pencil. So pretty light. And just as a reminder, it takes 16 ounces to make a whole pound. Some other things that might weigh a pound include a baseball, 20 AA batteries, a block of butter, a cell phone in a hard case, a football, or a guinea pig. So one activity we did is we tried to figure out and estimate how much we think these items would weigh. So this stapler right here, what would you estimate or guess we would use to measure the stapler? Would it be ounces or would it be pounds? Give you about 3 seconds. If you said ounces, you'd be correct. We had a little debate of sometimes these staplers get pretty heavy, so maybe it might make it up to a pound, but usually staplers would be about measured in ounces. How about your estimate on a puppy? Ounces or pounds? Give you about 3 seconds. If you said pounds, you're correct. Even though they're little, they're still going to weigh more than a loaf of bread, especially when they get to be about the size of this little guy. How about an eraser? So this eraser, now this was used on a chalkboard back in the day, but think about those dry erase board erasers we use in class also. Think about it. If you said ounces, you are correct. How about this book? What do you estimate we would use to measure it? Ounces or pounds? If you said ounces, you are correct. Most books would weigh ounces, but we did talk about how sometimes big, large books like dictionaries or almanacs, those might be heavier. So sometimes you might have a book that would weigh 1, maybe 2 pounds, but usually most of the books we deal with would be measured in ounces. Now, how about a little bag of chips that you would have for snack? And I'll give you a hint on this one. Take a look at the bottom of the bag. If you said ounces, you're correct. And if you zoom in, you will see that right there, it says 1OZ. We abbreviate ounces with an OZ period. Kind of crazy since the word ounce doesn't have a Z in it, but that is how we abbreviate it. And the funniest thing is with pounds, we actually abbreviate it with an LB period. So just a little interesting fact for you to know. All right, let's try the next one. This bowling ball, what do you estimate it weighs? Should we weigh it in ounces or pounds? If you said pounds, you're correct. How about this Pokemon card? What would you estimate it weighs? Would we weigh it in ounces or would we weigh it in pounds? If you said ounces, you're correct. And probably with the number of cards that some of you guys have, you'd probably have all of them together would be weighed in pounds, but just one of them would be ounces. What do you estimate these 5 paper clips should be measured in, ounces or pounds? If you said ounces, you're correct. Now we're getting a little trickier. This watermelon, do you think it would weigh about A, 5 ounces, or B, 5 pounds? Remember, an ounce is a piece of bread, and a pound would be about a loaf of bread. So think, would you want to measure it the same as 5 pieces of bread or 5 loaves of bread? If you said B, 5 pounds, you are correct. How about this tennis ball? Do you think it weighs about A, 2 ounces, or B, 2 pounds? If you said 2 ounces, you are correct. It's very, very light, so it would be 2 ounces. How about a baby? Would you say a baby weighs about 7 ounces or about 7 pounds? Remember, that would be about 7 pieces of bread or about the same as 7 loaves of bread. If you said B, 7 pounds, you are correct. Now, sometimes when a baby is born, we ask, how much did it weigh? And they might say 7 pounds and 8 ounces. So sometimes you'll hear both of them used, but for the majority of babies, we'll talk about how many pounds they would weigh. Ooh, here's a tricky one. A gallon of milk that has the milk still in it weighs about A, 8 ounces, or B, 8 pounds. This is a crazy one. Can you believe B? It weighs about 8 pounds. That is craziness. And a Big Mac. What do you think a Big Mac weighs? About A, 8 ounces, or B, 8 pounds? If you guessed A, 8 ounces, you're correct. It weighs about a half of a pound because if you remember, it takes 16 ounces to make a pound and 8 is half of 16. So it's half a pound or 8 ounces. A, good job. So here's a challenge I want you to do and show your parents. Find one item that you think would be measured in ounces and less than a pound. So if you remember, an ounce would be a piece of bread is 1 ounce. A pound would be a loaf of bread. So you're going to look for something that would weigh less than a loaf of bread. So once you find that item, share it with your parents or whoever you're with, whatever adult you're with. And if you want, you can send us a picture on Dojo of what you found. And your second challenge is find one item that you think would be measured in pounds. That means it would weigh more than a loaf of bread. Show whatever adult you're working with. And if you want to, again, you can show a picture or a video or write and tell us on Dojo what you found if you'd like to. So there's another challenge. And finally, I'm going to give you about 3 seconds after I ask the question to see if you can remember. How many ounces are in a pound? The correct answer is 16. How do you abbreviate ounces? The correct answer is OZ period. How do you abbreviate pounds? LB period. And this is a tricky one. What do you use to measure the weight of items? The answer is the measurement tool we use is a scale. Excellent, excellent job, everybody. Thanks for joining with us today.